Hello again. So this is not going to be a long session, but I think we will be highlighting the Chinese outbound, the characteristics of the Chinese visitors, because I think this is going to be a very interesting session. It is not going to be a long session, by the way. But we will talk about the new trends and the driving forces for the Chinese tourism market. Just before I invite my panelists, I would just like to mention a few words. You know that it is said, by the way, that among the global outbound tourist market, China seems definitely the brightest. So that's why all the destinations are after our Chinese friends. And all the tour operators, they want to capture this market, they want to penetrate this market, or they either want to improve their share in the market, or they just want to start with this market from scratch. So there is a substantial growth of Chinese outbound travel in terms of trips abroad and, of course, expenditure. And that is why the destinations around the world, they try to understand the dynamism of this market, and they want to be fully equipped with the fundamental knowledge on how to penetrate this market, as I have said, because this market has its own specifications and particularities. Now, we know by evidence that in 2017, 12.4 million of Chinese visited European Union countries only. So this means more than 1 million visitors monthly. So this is an amazing figure. So we know that this growth started in the 21st century, at the beginning of the 21st century, because of some of the loosened policies in China and because of some diversified consumer demand, profound changes in the market, extensive use of new technologies, the applications and the growth of the millennials in China and so on. And it's a huge country, of course. And I don't know, but the proportion is growing and growing. So that's why many destinations worldwide want to capture this. Now, I want to invite my panelists. First, can I invite Dr. Song Rui, who you already met half an hour ago. She is the director of the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences, and she studied tourism. And she has done a lot of research in her country and also some research for other countries as well. So she's very experienced in research and she knows the market very well. So also she comes from there. Can I invite you, Song, please? Okay, my next speaker is, from Caissa, Tony Jin, please. Tony, it is our pleasure to have you here. Tony is representing the Caissa big company. You may know about Caissa if you work with China. And he has been working in this industry for the last 10 years. And he loves traveling, and that is his personal interest. But he did a lot of work in this market, and he helped a lot to the destinations, how to capture this market. So he also did a lot of work on MICE, the meetings industry, and also he's also promoting the Chinese domestic travel as well. So my next speaker is Roger Q. He is representing here C-Trip. I am sure that C-Trip is one of the biggest online travel companies. And he also did a lot of work in China, and then he worked a little bit in Europe as well. Then he went back to China. Now he's in charge of overseas destination marketing, and he's helping the destinations to upgrade their destination images in China. So he's also, you may need his help as well in the future. So my next panelist is Ralf, who is representing a destination, and that destination is Berlin. He is the director, marketer management of visitBerlin. And he has become a veteran on the Chinese market because he did a lot of work to attract Chinese to Berlin. And he has a long experience in tourism management and marketing, and he promoted Berlin in different parts of the world. And my last panelist is Carl. I can't pronounce your last name, I'm so sorry. She's representing the city of Helsinki. She is also an expert in the marketing of her city, but she also has a lot of experience in Eastern Europe and also in China. So she has done a lot of, also she worked with the WTCF, she participated in their training program and so on. So thank you so much for coming. So I will just ask you some questions because we don't have a lot of time. It's 12 o'clock already, so we want to finish. Now, my first question goes to Dr. Song. Okay, so probably the audience will be interested in knowing what changes have happened in the Chinese market during the last 2 decades? Because we know that there is this traditional Chinese market, but there is a tremendous change in the market as well. So could you just, in 2 or 3 minutes, could you just summarize what changes have you observed in the Chinese market?
Yeah, thank you, Esencan. Thank you for inviting me to speak first because they know me. They know more than me of this industry. Tourism outbound market is a very interesting topic to every destination. First, I would like to say that this is a growing and fast changing market. As you know, the Chinese outbound tourism only has a very short history of only 20 years. Since 1997. So now, since then, Chinese can travel on leisure, purpose, but not on the business purpose. So we are a still very young market, not very mature. So I would like to say that first, this market grew with a fast growth rate. In the last decades, it's almost above 20%. But in the several years, in the past several years, it's the growth rate decreased in some way, but still around, let me see, 7% last year. So that's a very young market. Second, as you have said, Chinese outbound market, last year we have, let me think, 1,300 million outbound travelers, but 70% of them travel to Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan. That means only above 30% to the other countries, to the foreign countries. And most of the destinations are our neighbors. For example, Korea, Japan, Singapore, Malaysia. And among the top 10 destinations, only America is out of Asia. So, but Europe market is, Europe destination grown very fast. Last year, the growth rate of Chinese tourists to Europe destination increased by 13.3%. Compared, that's the highest record in the history, and also the highest record compared to other destinations. So that's a very potential, market for the European destinations, and especially, now the market changed a lot. The more and more young generation came here. They have more experience, travel experience, and they can speak English. They know what they want, and they travel as a FIT, not as a group. So that's a big change. You know, our host should, you know, to know these changes. So, for example, there are some kind of surveys that, for example, the Chinese tourists who visit, you know, other countries, who from 20 years to 30 years are 30%. So they are very young, and they, from one trip of several countries, in the past, maybe we visit as many as possible countries within one trip. But now, one trip, one country, even one trip, one city. For example, my college visit Czech Republic this Spring Festival. They just stay in the capital city for 1 week to enjoy the city life, to know more about the local culture, to try the you know, the local, you know, cuisines. So we are this trend is very, you know, we are changing from the routine product to some special product. So that's a very big change. And but also this market is also high competitive, not only among the service providers, but also, you know, in terms of the destinations. Now, 66 countries or regions provide visa-free treatment to Chinese tourists.
We'll come back to that then.
Yes, so that's a lot of change. So
okay.
Thank you.
So my second question goes to Tony. Now, as you're representing the customer, actually, so in China, what are the source regions? Where do they normally generate? I mean, tourist generating regions in China. That is the first thing. And then what are the main market segments in terms of age, gender? I mean, I'm talking about the recent trends, of course. Millennials, what is the percentage? Are we talking about gray gappers, for example, people like me, old people? Or free independent travelers now, because in the past they used to travel in groups, now are they more with fits? Can you just give some insight on that?
Sure, thank you, Ethan, for me to answer this question. Well, first of all, just like Dr. Song has said, that Chinese tourists are getting more and more free time, and they are traveling on FITs. So that means that as a travel company, our margin is getting lesser and lesser. And back to your questions, that I would say there are 3 kind of cities in China. And nowadays, that first-tier cities and second-tier cities and third-tier cities, all of them are growing very significantly, especially the last 2 categories of cities. And talking about the ages, I would say younger generations, they are more willing to travel, of course, on FITs, and also the gray gappers or the retirees. They have more money and they have more time. Well, if they have a very good retirement benefits, and they can travel all of the world wherever they want. Just for example, my aunt and her husband, who is in their early 60s, they traveled more than once last year, and they traveled to Japan with a cruise in March, and then they went to Cambodia in October. I don't know why they chose Cambodia, but that's what they like. And for the FITs, I mean, family travels. I mean, family tours. They normally choose FIT. I mean, they choose to travel FIT, especially when they choose a destination. More often that the wives of a family, they will make the final decision, like where to go and how much money they would want to spend. And so if you want to attract the Chinese FIT customers, you need to make a lot of advertisement on aiming on the female of China.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Now, the third question goes to Roger.
Yes.
So you're also representing the consumer, you know what they like, but I would just like to ask you, what are the main features of the tourism products, or rather we call them experiences, that they are looking for? Are they looking for high-end products? Are they looking for customized products or themed products or experiences, group products? And can you just give a little bit explanation on that? What are they looking for in a destination?
Okay. Yes, thank you, Esan. Actually, you know, China's market is quite diversified. It's really different. It's a very big question, actually. You cannot say what really the Chinese people really like, because all kinds of different themes have different target clients. In terms of the way of outbound tourists, how do they choose the products? As we all said, we all realize that the FIT clients is getting more and more. So from C-trip perspective, our data shows that almost 42% of Chinese tourists, they go abroad as a FIT clients. 42% is FIT, 44% is group tour. So there is still a gap. This gap nowadays, we call it customized tour or private group. So this is in the middle of group tour and FIT travel. So it's like with some friends or families together, but it's a very small group. It's kind of FIT, but I have some customized, personalized requirements for this specific travel. It's different, unique. Chinese people, back to 10 or 20 years ago, of course, they are going to sightseeing, shopping, everything. That's the major point. But nowadays, we have the data from our clients' comments. The most topics they're talking about during their travels, it's becoming like food, like the attractions. And then they're talking about a lot of SIM tour products, like even medical tours. So this is really different. We have the same travel products platform today, and we also have the customized tour platform today. It's all for the new generations. You know, almost 50% people today, the tourists from China is like who born from 1970s and 1980s, 50%. Very, very young generations actually. So they are very, they like be freedom. Tour. They don't want to be controlled by the groups, everything. So the question is if the destination, they are prepared for these FIT clients to supply, for example, the tickets, is it real-time based confirmation for these FIT clients? We can use the mobile end or PC end to book it right in the destination. That's also a very important experience. So Chinese people, they are looking for some technology-oriented service as well. So if this destination is very convenient in some mobile end or PC and internet access, a lot of FIT clients, they are willing to go there to explore. Of course, it's not a problem for the group tours. So, and one more thing I want to say is from the gender perspectives. So from our data, it's almost 60% Chinese tourists is females. So you can see, okay, Chinese men work very hard for women to travel around the world. So that's good. So it's also a question for destinations. Do you have some specific, unique selling point for the female clients as well? And for the kids, because the family tour with the kids also around 30% Chinese tourists. It's in the group of with the kids, 10% with their parents, and 20% almost with its couples. So different types of clients have really different interests. It's very huge topics to say, okay, what kind of things they really want, but very specific, just for the information for those destinations who really want to target different clients.
Thank you so much, Roger. This was very, very, very helpful, I think.
Thank you.
Now, my next question goes to first Ralf, and the same question I will ask to Kaari now. How do you attract the Chinese market to your destinations? Are you doing something special for them? For example, do you have special strategies for this market? Do you have special products for them? What tools do you use? What are your distribution channels? How do you facilitate travel for them and new technologies? Could you just summarize a little bit what Berlin is doing, and then we'll see what Helsinki is doing as a destination?
First of all, Berlin, of course, is a fantastic destination like Helsinki, which makes things, of course, a lot easier. But what I think is so important about the Chinese market, as you mentioned before, it's still a very young market. It's a still growing market. So for me, having worked in China or with China for many years now, it's like they are still bees flying around all over the world and still don't know where to settle down. So there's lots of opportunities for destinations to profit from that. And at the same time, you can always, of course, promote your traditional things that you always promote all over the world. But then, of course, it's important to also listen to the market, look into the market and try to understand at least a little bit what they want. What does the Chinese traveler want? Because normally we learned to travel for many, many years, hundreds of years. And as you said, it's still a very young market. So they might have some basic ideas what they want to do, like major sightseeing attractions, going to museums, going to parks, what they think they should do. On the other hand, then you also have the opportunity to do something special, to also stick out a little bit from other destinations. Because right now, everybody basically in the world wants the Chinese traveler. And so for us, for Berlin, we always said, if we 100 people, 99 destinations take the left turn, Berlin will take the right turn. You know, try to always stick a little bit out of the mass, think out of the box, doing something special. So we have, for example, very early, of course, started our own WeChat channel, Weibo, which is essential. Before you start anything else, you need to have that. But also try to have our own Chinese website, not a translated Chinese website, but especially Chinese thinking, doing it in some sort of German way. But at the same time, try to also position some special themes that attract, like if you're a fisherman, put something in the water that they will like. So we've started programs like Learn and Travel, which might also be only a niche market. We've started our own medical tourism programs in Chinese with special Chinese website. Right now, for example, we're also starting a program on wedding tourism. Normally, you would never think, well, Berlin, is that a fantastic, romantic wedding destination? Yes, of course. It is not right now because it's a little bit rainy outside. But there is lots of options. Once you attract, if one single party, you don't need the whole market. If we are big friends with C-Trip here, then you can get into the market. So it always has to mix. Do what you know, what you can do, your traditional things, your traditional highlights, but also mix them with Chinese thinking, and then you can be successful. But you always have to be continuous in whatever you do.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And what is Helsinki thinking about this? And what are you doing?
Yeah, thank you, Ralf. Yes, for Helsinki, it starts from the city and administration level. City of Helsinki has emphasized the importance of Asia and especially China in the city strategy. And we have been sister cities with Beijing for 12 years now. And we have lots of cooperation with Beijing and China through this. Yes, the growth numbers in Helsinki for the Chinese overnight stays have been in double-digit numbers for several years now, over 40% in 2015 and over 20, 2016, over 30 now, 2017. And we really have started to work a lot with the Chinese market. Yeah, we have found through the surveys and studies that we do that Chinese are very interested in culture and historical sites. Of course, Helsinki doesn't have an Eiffel Tower or anything like that. But our assets, we see our assets as a city. More in that Helsinki is a very functional, easygoing, safe and safe destination, very walkable, with good public transportation, and nature is very near everywhere in Helsinki. So we have over 300 islands, and 1/3 of the city surface is covered by green areas, forests and parks. So in Helsinki, one can take it more in more relaxed way, feel like a local, taste the local cuisine, and yeah. The locals are also very hospitable and friendly, and that has been noted in many surveys that, yeah. And also we have developed, sounds familiar, what Berlin is doing. We have developed new products in educational travel, medical travel, and also now, before the Beijing Olympics, also winter sports travel. And Helsinki can really easily be combined with Lapland and the neighboring capitals, Stockholm, Tallinn, even St. Petersburg. So that's also a good asset for us.
Okay, thank you so much. So my next question goes to Dr. Song. Just, do you have any other additional suggestions to the destinations to attract them, not to prepare the destination? That is going to be the next phase, actually, I'm going to ask. But to be able to attract Chinese tourists, some destinations, for example, they may have a very low profile and they don't know how to attract. What additional suggestions can you have?
First, you should know who is your target market, because Chinese market is very, as he said, diversified. First, we are different from Westerners. Now, I know many destinations do very well on this perspective. But you also know that we are all different from each other, because China has a very big territory, big population. Don't regard China as a country when you, promote your destination. Regard it as Europe. So because different people from different region, different, culture, different age, they are quite different. So first, to know who are your target market. Second, to know more about the, we call it social psychology. Now, the destination prepared hot water, some kind of, Chinese signals, but you should know more than that, prepared more than that, to know Chinese, what they are thinking. We are more, collective culture. So Chinese travelers will, get more information from their friends, not from the website, from advertisement. And also we are very, eager and easy to receive new things. Traditionally, people think Chinese are conservative, but in fact, it's not. It's not true. So we are very, open to try new things, new destination, new technology, so new products. So it's a good news for the new destinations.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Song. The other question, both, please, Tony and Roger. So what do you think, how must the destinations be prepared, not to attract, but we have this market already in there, but how do we prepare the destinations? Like, for example, what sort of tourist guides we need, guidebooks, do we have to put on WeChat, do we have to promote Chinese cuisine to them, or establish more Chinese restaurants and whatever, or the payment services must be special. So what are the needs of the Chinese tourists in the destination, so the destinations can be prepared for this? So what do you suggest? First you, and then please.
Okay. Well, if you want to attract Chinese tourists, you have to be Chinese ready, especially the languages. The guides need to be speaking Chinese, Mandarin, and they need to be very informative. They should be very patient and also professional. And of course, Chinese food. Most of the Chinese people, they have a Chinese stomach, and they cannot. They would rather choose the Chinese food first. And of course, they are more advantageous these years. They would like to try more new things, like a Western food, some exotic food, they are more open-minded. But in heart, they are more Chinese stomach. So Chinese food is really important. And also the guidebooks, if also the signs on the attraction sites, if they can be made Chinese version, Chinese Mandarin version, that would be great. And the Chinese people will feel great honored. And they will feel this country is really friendly to them. So they would love to travel to this country again and again. And they also want to recommend the country to their friends. Yes.
No, thank you so much. So what do you think? How must the destination be prepared?
Yeah, sure. Of course, our big topic today is the new trends. So I'm going to talk about some, from the technology perspective way. So C-Trip, actually, we are now doing a lot of IT development, the technology part. So it's very important for new destination because, Chinese tourists or Chinese people will already get used to use the mobile. It's their daily life. So if you go to China, you see people use their mobile everywhere for payments, for looking for restaurants, everything. So it's kind of the habit for the Chinese tourists. Also, when they go abroad, especially for FIT clients, they are trying to find information on their mobile and through internet. So the destination should be prepared to ask your questions. Are we prepared to be mobile and be online? That's also very important. A very good thing is I traveled yesterday in Berlin by myself as FIT clients. I see a lot of technology things, and I'm very glad to see Mobike actually in Berlin. So it works. So it's very convenient for Chinese tourists. You see, I have a Mobike application, of course. I scan it, and I take the bike, and I can go around the cities. It's very easy. And when I go to the museum island, I want to visit some museums. Okay, I didn't buy the tickets before travel because I don't know my plan really. So it's for business, but I really have some time, so I traveled. So I just take out the application and to check out the list of the museum, and I check and book the tickets in real-time based. It's really real-time based, but it's a little bit expensive. I compare the price. Right, so you have to fix it. So, but the service is quite good. I'm there, I bought the tickets, and I went in the museum. So it's a very, very convenient service. And of course, we have a lot of WeChat service. It's a 24 hours SOS service. If you lost your passports, you can find our operators in real time. So everything is connected with technology, the internet, and of course, the payment. Also see Helsinki did a lot of jobs in the payment way. I almost, in the entire shopping street, we can pay by Alipay or WeChat Pay. So that's even in the Santa Claus office, I pay by Alipay, just by a magnet stuff. So it's really amazing experience for the Chinese tourists. So I think technology will be the new trend and will be very helpful for attracting the Chinese clients for destinations.
Thank you so much, Roger. Just my question goes to Ralf, and we have only one or two more. Ralf and Kaari. Now, how do you make the market intelligence to know about these new trends? What are your means to do the market intelligence? And how do you collaborate with the trade, the travel trade in China? Are they helpful to you to give this market intelligence, or do you just do it? How do you find out what they need and so on? First, and then you.
Well, if it comes to market intelligence, it's probably the easiest market in the whole world right now. Really? Because basically, you put on your computer every day, you will find a survey study or whatever on the whole thing. But I think what should always be the first step, go there. But not go there once, go there twice, go there 3 times. You have to understand the culture, you have to smell, to taste, to really understand a little bit of the market before you start your market surveys. Because that is really, really important. Second step then is go to Mr. Market Intelligent himself. That's Mr. Art. If you have never subscribed the code-free newsletter, do it immediately. You get daily, weekly updates on the market. Very, very important. Third step, of course, also the World Tourism Cities Federation, WTCF. If there are any destinations here, you're not a member of WTCF, do it. Because they also have lots of market intelligence. Then, of course, it's also checking daily newspapers. Try to understand what's happening. not only look at the travel section, look at the business section, look at the political section, download your China Daily app, for example. So always try to understand the market from different angles. Then at the end of the day, you have to make your own decisions, your own suggestions, what you want to do, how you can make the best of it. But there are lots of information available 24 hours per day. And working also with the travel industry helps. If you have some money in the pockets, want to do a nice campaign with Caissa or C-Trip, they're always happy to work with you. They also know how the customers work, and they're also very happy to share the information, like also we, as a destination, are happy to share our information with the tour operators. So at the end of the day, it's always win-win.
Very good indeed. And what do you do for that?
Oh, yes. Well,
Do you also monitor the customs needs? Do you make any customs satisfaction surveys and
we
things?
actually,
You just, yes.
yeah, we have an annual visitor survey. Visit Finland does it nationwide, and then Helsinki and the adjoining cities do it in the capital region. So we interview about 20,000 visitors annually, and combine that information with the statistics that we get from the overnight stays and arrivals and so on. So that gives very valuable information. But actually, I would like to go back to the digitalization that Roger mentioned. As he mentioned, Helsinki or in Finland has started using Alipay very actively, and actually Finland was declared as a cashless country by Alipay just recently. So a Chinese group visited Finland, and they could make all the transactions from booking flights and the local retail purchases to dining out with Alipay. And of course now WeChat Pay is coming to the market as well, so we are very well prepared for this digital payment. Well, and then I would like to tell you a couple of words about our recent cooperation with Tencent that we opened last year with the kind help of World Tourism Cities Federation. We started to develop Helsinki mini program. Mini programs are a new cloud-based feature in WeChat. WeChat just announced that they have now officially 1 billion active users. And for these 1 billion active users, we now have this Helsinki application in WeChat through which they can find information about Helsinki. And it's still in the first phase. It's more like a website kind of information with some additional interactive features like translations from Chinese to English and to Chinese. But we are very eager to develop it together with Tencent to really work as a great help in the destination, develop an interactive map and some AR features as well, and this has been a great opportunity for us to work with such a giant in digitalization, and really opened also the channels to Tencent news channels, and so this is something that we have been working on very actively throughout the last year.
Okay, thank you, Kaari. Now the other question goes to both of you. Now, what is the role of media for the Chinese consumer, and which media is more relevant to build confidence on the destination? How do you, just very briefly, because I think we don't have much time, very briefly, which is the relevant media to promote your destination and to build confidence, consumer confidence?
There are a lot of diversified range of media styles, like TV commercials, elevator commercials, because there is a lot of skyscrapers in Beijing, China, in Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, the first-tier cities. If you want to promote your cities, you can create the elevator commercials. And also, Of course, the WeChat. You can create WeChat moments, and WeChat you have subscriptions. I think, yeah. Also, the print media also serves very well.
Okay, thank you. And what do you think about?
Well, I think Tony has included almost everything, but just don't forget C-Trip, also a very important media platform, actually. We have 300 million members, so we really have the target clients. It's all tourists in front of you. So we even have the big data to use our very precise marketing channels to touch these clients, to educate them. And we have the products as well. So it's a very, very good combination from the C-Trip media platform. Of course, the WeChat, the blogs, everything in China on internet is all very important media channels, of course, and also TV reality shows. It works very well. See, like in Turkey, in Czech Republic, it goes very popular just right after a TV show. It's very useful, but also it's really expensive media channels.
Okay, thank you. Just one last question, but I just want, if you can just one sentence now. What is, given the future of the Chinese outbound, with the new trends, and what is your basic recommendation to our audience here? Just one phrase, the basic recommendation, so that they can, to the destinations, that they can capture more Chinese tourists, and also to the companies who are planning to work with the China, with the Chinese travel trade and so on. What is just one sentence? Could you just give one sentence, one recommendation, each of you?
Yes. More Chinese tourists are coming. Are you really ready? I mean, be ready not only for the industry, for the service providers, for the local government, but also the local community should be ready for more Chinese tourists. Thank you.
Thank you.
And for us as tour operators, we are more interested in unique travel resources around the world, because we have over hundreds of travel products around the world, and that must be very unique. And the second thing is the flexible rates or the price. Of course, as a tour operator, we'll always pay more attention on the price as well. So if the prices are really flexible, that would be great.
And what do you think?
Okay, I don't want to repeat things I have already talked about. Just one sentence is like, before you're doing the China's market business, just go traveling in China to see and talk with the Chinese people. Then you will get more picture from the China's market.
Absolutely. And Ralf,
I would say always follow carefully the Chinese customer journey. Be authentic in what you do. Be authentic in your product. Be consistent in what you do. And like he said, travel to China.
And you?
Yeah. Well, China readiness of the destination is very important. So I would consider that aspect. And then, well, KOL marketing hasn't been mentioned that many times here, but that's also might be a valuable tool for a destination to work with. And connectivity, good airlines.
Yeah. I think it's that we can have this take-home value from this session anyway. But just before I conclude, do we have time for a few questions from the audience? We have time? Okay. So can I have, let's say, for example, 3 or 4 questions at least to our distinguished panelists. Any questions? Yes, please. Number 1 question. Microphone. Microphone? Oh, where is it? Okay.
Okay. Sorry. So, first of all, thank you very much to all the panelists, and thank you, Ralf, for mentioning me. My name is Wolfgang Alt, Poetry China Outbound Tourism Research Institute. And my question, or maybe a comment, will be, I think, what do you think the most important media, I think, is other Chinese people? So, because I think in China, the media we are using, WeChat and all this, is to let Chinese talk among each other about their experience. So, and I think therefore, it is good to give information through social media, but it's more important to help the customers to talk to each other, because I think in China you believe most your friends, that virtual friends or real friends. So therefore I think this is we all say, yeah, WeChat is the only thing you need to do, but I think that's not true. And as Roger has been saying, so the portals where the Chinese are discussing with each other what is which kind of food to eat in Helsinki and what to visit in Berlin, this is, I think, much more convincing. So my question would be to Roger, so how is C-Trip supporting that? How can you offer to Berlin and Helsinki that this is going on, that this is pushed forward, that they talk to each other about that?
Yeah, of course, you know, it's like, thank you, Professor. It's like a word of mouth marketing part, actually. It's very important. Even for the WeChat part, you know, WeChat is a platform, but actually the content is people who share it by themselves. That's most importantly. So Chinese people, 63% of Chinese people, they use the social medias to kind of bragging on their social media. Okay, I'm abroad, I'm in Berlin, etc. So C-Trip also did a lot of, we offer the platform for the Chinese tourists to comment, to discuss with each other. Also use WeChat service as well. We have the a WeChat group service for the FIT clients. So in this group, there are all people, FIT clients, who travel in the same destination in the same period. So in these media channels, it's all C-Trip clients using WeChat channels, but they talk about, for example, Berlin destination, about food, about everything. And then they discuss in this WeChat group, it's good, it's not good, how can I use the mobile, how can I book the museum tickets, everything. And then they can share in their social medias afterwards, after they come back, they show the photos, everything. So I think it's a crossover media platform. It's not only one C-Trip we can do. We use the platform. We also offer others platform. It's about how to invite the right persons to join and to use this platform. So that's very important thing. Use the data to do what we really want to do.
Okay, thank you. Any other question? And then we will have only one more, I'm sorry, because I think we're running out of time. Yes, please.
Hi, my question would be, do you think a European country would be able to be under the top 5 or top 10 travel destinations for Chinese tourists in the next 2 or 3 decades?
Yes.
Yeah, probably you both. You can.
Always.
We have the microphone, please.
Caissa was originated from Germany, so we've seen a lot of Chinese tourists coming to Germany, and also to France and Italy. Maybe these 3 countries are the most popular countries for the Chinese tourists. But as time goes by, the more destinations are growing in the hearts of the Chinese people, Chinese tourists, like Eastern Europe, like Southern Europe, and also like Northern Europe, like Finland. We have a lot of ski programs, ski tour products in Finland. So, and also, I would say culture, especially European culture, is getting more and more popular among Chinese tourists, because they know, of course, China has a long history, but Europe also has a very rich history. So the cultural may be one thing that attracts them to come here, and also of course, the shopping. Shopping is another thing to attract them, especially France, Germany, and Italy. Yeah.
Okay. One last question.
Sorry.
Can I? Would you like to add something?
Just few words. From a different perspective, it's definitely, it will be, but it depends on a lot of conditions. For example, do we have visa-free policy? Okay. Do we have enough direct flights? Or can we have some super flights? We can travel within maybe 5 hours from China to Europe. So if the technology changes, of course it will change for the first priority. And second thing is, today, like Russia, okay, we can also consider Russia as a Europe country. It's the top 12 overseas destinations in China. And Italy is like top 14. And France is top 15. It's like they're growing up and up, but still, the distance, the price, it's advantage. It's a nature advantage. We cannot conquer these barriers. Japan, Thailand, everything. It's too close. So I think the answer is for sure. Europe will be one of the top lists in the Chinese destinations, but it depends really a lot of elements, and we'll see how it develops.
Yeah. Okay, just one more, please, if you have anyone there. No questions? So, okay, thank you so much. I think we don't have time for anything.